Hi, I'm Rob, and you're joining me for the fifth and the final day of a series of 5 daily devotions focused on our core values as a church. If you missed any of them, I would encourage you to catch up with them and get a greater sense of how God has been guiding us up until this point. Today, we're considering one final core value: be a welcoming and inclusive community. Jesus shocked the leaders of the Jewish community all of the time by the way that he struck up conversations with outcasts and welcomed people into his presence that would never have felt welcome in the temple. The Pharisees were an ultra-religious and very, very legalistic sect of priests who were in charge, and they worked very hard to make attending religious services the privilege of the few who impressed them enough with their outward acts of piety, for example. If you didn't behave the way that they demanded of you, or believe exactly the same things as them, according to the Pharisees, you didn't belong in their presence or community, especially in places of worship. Jesus repeatedly infuriated them by mixing with prostitutes, collaborators, adulterers, and foreigners with different religious beliefs to the Jews. It's really clear that Jesus had a very different idea of how religious people should treat others who don't believe the same things that they do. Luke, one of the early disciples of Jesus, recounts an occasion when the Pharisees made the mistake of criticizing Jesus under their breath. We find the story in Luke chapter 15, and I'll just be reading from verses 1 to 6. Now the tax collectors and the sinners were all gathering around to hear Jesus. But the Pharisees and the teachers of the law muttered, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them." Then Jesus told them this parable. "Suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses one of them. Doesn't he leave the 99 in open country and go after the lost sheep until he finds it? And when he finds it, he joyfully puts it on his shoulders and goes home. Then he calls his friends and neighbors together and says, 'Rejoice with me, I have found my lost sheep.'" There is no doubt that this parable and the two that follow it in Luke's Gospel were meant to paint a picture of a welcoming and inclusive community of faith. Unlike the Pharisees, God doesn't turn his back towards people that have walked away from the religious community. He goes looking for them, hoping to welcome them home with rejoicing and celebration. He doesn't look for perfection in people before they can belong. In fact, he does the opposite. He goes out of his way to remind them that they belong in his family so that they come to believe in the genuineness of his love for them and their lives change in response to his warm welcome. Here at ABC, we want to be a welcoming and inclusive community. You don't have to endorse the beliefs or lifestyles of someone in order to engage with them like Jesus did. You just have to recognize that everyone is welcome because nobody is perfect and nothing is impossible for God. If his love has changed your life, then his love through you could change someone else's sense of belonging. So what are you going to do to make our church the kind of place everyone loves to attend, especially people who don't normally go to church? As you reflect on that question, you can find a link in the description below to a song that I've chosen, which I really hope inspires you to welcome and include anyone and everyone looking to connect with us here at ABC. Thanks for joining us for this series. Bye now.